Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Flutter Explain. Today I would like to introduce you a method which is really handy and it's called fold method. So stay with me and let's get into it. I prepared 3 simple examples for us to learn how fold method is working. In our first example, we have a list of strings which are called names, and our task is to put first letter of each name together and print it as a string. At first, I will solve our task with forEach method, and after that, I will explain you how does fold method work and how we can solve it with fold. If you guys want to learn more about forEach method, I will put in the info box my last video for this method. And now let's jump into it and solve our task. At first, I create a variable and call it letters. This is an empty list of strings. After that, I will write names, and with that notation, I will call the forEach method. This will help us to iterate through each name in our list and execute the following function. We will write name and call the split method. This will return us all characters of our name. After that, with dot first, we will get the first letter of our name. And after that, we will add this first letter to our variable letters, which was an empty list. And now, if I print the letters, we will get a list with the first letter of each name. And now, if we call the join method, we will put all the letters as a string together. And here we go, we have the string. And now it's time to solve it with fold. So I will call the names dot fold. And let's have a look how this method is working. The fold method will take 2 input parameters. The first one is an initial value, which is from type t. And the second one is a function, which is a combine function. And this takes also 2 parameters. The first one is also from type t, and the second one depends on type of our list. In our case, our list is from type string, therefore here we have a string. And the fold method will reduce a collection to a single value by iterating, combining each element of the collection with an existing value, which means the return parameter of this function, which is t, will be added to initial value, which is also from type t, and this will be returned as return parameter of fold method. And this for sure will also be from type t. So in our case, we need an empty string as an initial value. And after that, I will write the pref and the letter as 2 input parameters. And what we are going to do is actually to add the first letter of our each character in our list to our previous letter. And at the end, I will put the result of that in a variable and call it first letters. So let's print our first letters and see what's going to be the result. This is actually amazing because instead of writing 3 lines of code with different methods such as add, split, and join, we can have the same result with just 1 method, which is fold. In our next example, we have a list of integer, which I call it numbers, and the task is to find the sum of all numbers. To do that, I will create a new variable and call it sum. To get the sum, I will call the numbers and after that call the fold method. The initial value is a 0, and after that I will iterate through each number and add it to our previous number. And now if I print it, we will get the total amount of all numbers. In our last example, we have a class which I call it friends. Our friend has 2 attributes, which is a name and an age. And after that, we have a list of friends, which I call it my friends. And here I have 4 friends. Our task is to find some age of all friends and print it. To get the total age of all friends, I will create a new variable and call it sum ages. And after that, I will call my friends and with dot notation call the fold method. With fold method, we will reduce our collection to a single value. The initial value, I will give it 0. And now we have the age and friend as an input parameter of our function, and we will go through each friend and add the age of the friend to our previous age. And now when we print the sum ages, we should get the total age of our all friends. So I will run it. Amazing guys, we get the result which we expected. Now we know how does fold method works in general and in Dart. Now it's time to see how we can use it actually in Flutter. To do that, I prepared for us a small demo, which is basically a column with a form, and in the form we have two form input field. These are both two widgets which I extract them, and they build with text form field. And here we can add an item name and a price, and when we hit the icon button, which is this one, we will add the name and the price of our item to our items. The items is basically a list of items, which is at the beginning an empty list. And now let's have a look in the item to see what is this one. The item is a class which has two attributes. The first one is an item name, which is from type string, and the second attribute is the item price, which is from type double. And as I said, as soon as we hit this key, the icon button, we will add the item name and the item price to our items list, and with set state we will update our UI. And after that we will add the name and the price to our table. And what we want to do is actually to update the total amount of all items which we add to our table. At the moment, for example, if I add an item and it's a book and it costs $10, let's hit this button and we can see that the total amount doesn't change. We have a hard-coded string, which is this to do. Now let's change this one with fold method. So I will delete the to do, and what I'm going to do is to call the items variable, and here we'll call the fold method. Our initial value is at the beginning 0, and what we want to do is to call the previous value and add the element and the item price of our elements. And what we want to do is, because we have a text widget, we should provide here a string. So I will convert it to string. And now let's save it. And now let's add an item to our list. For example, I will write price for $20 and hit this button. And as you can see, as soon as I hit the button, our total amount will be updated. For example, I will add another item, which is a book, for example, for $5. And now I will hit this key and we can see both items with their prices, and our total amount will be updated. Amazing guys, we did it. Thank you very much guys for watching my video. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to our channel, and stay safe till the next time. See you guys.